Does this toilet look familiar? Yes, there's something else going wrong with it, and I wanted to figure it out. And I'm pretty sure I got it figured out. I can still hear water dripping somewhere, and it's coming from the tank, and it's dripping down into the bowl. And if I look really super close into the bowl, I can hear it. And I believe it's because this flapper inside here needs to be replaced. Now, in order for me to check, I can push down on the flapper. I just got a pair of pliers. You can just push down with anything. I can push down on it and just kind of hold it and listen. And I'm pretty sure I'm not hearing anything. Okay, so that tells me that that flapper needs to be replaced. And that flapper's probably, oh, I don't know, 7, 8 years old. And if yours is about that old, it might be something like that too, because every once in a while what happens is this toilet out of nowhere, it wants to fill back up. That's because with water dripping out of the flapper going down into the bowl, it lowers this overall water. Once this water level gets down a little bit, then the water fill valve kicks back on and it fills up that last little 1/2 inch or 1 inch of water that went down before it kicked on. You hear that in the middle of the night, you're just walking by, chances are it's because your flapper is leaking. There are other reasons and other things that could be why it's leaking like that, but more than likely it's your flapper. Check it out. Now, what kind of flapper should you get at the store? Just go and get a flapper, right? Well, if you haven't been to the plumbing aisle yet at your department, at your hardware store, your department store, you may be in for a surprise because they might have 5 or 6 different ones and you're like, which one do I get? Does it really matter? Well, I went to the store the other day and I found this one, and it was just something new that came out. This is from Korky. It's called Universal Flapper and Chain. And here's what I liked. Longest lasting ultra water saver. Maximizes performance. And it also has a 5-year warranty. If this thing goes out, you can get them to replace it for free. Now, I don't know if you have to send it to the actual manufacturer, if you take it back to your regular hardware store and you have to have the receipt and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like a joke to think that you're gonna get one in a short amount of time, whatever. But does this one look different than what your normal ones do? You see, there's a thin deal here, and I'm gonna have to read the directions on this thing and see what it's all about. It's got the chain on here. Looks like it's all set up properly. Okay. And if you have a question what kind of flapper yours is, you can take your old one out and you can go take that to the store. Okay, but here's something really odd. I think you can move this. I'm not quite sure how you move that exactly. I guess I should read the directions right. And then there's something here that you can move it. See, you move that to a smaller hole, even smaller yet, you can turn that. And there's numbers on the side of this and all that. I'm gonna kind of see what the deal is with that. Somehow this is a water saver. And see, there's a hole right there. And I think this thing turns. Like I say, I probably should read the directions first, huh? Probably should. Somehow that twists. This thing here twists. Okay, I'll read the directions, get right back to you. Holy mackerel, that took a lot of effort just to get this lined up. Oh, now look at it. Oops. Oh, you know what? I just turned that and it took me forever to turn it, and it might be because I just had to get it loose first. See there, it just slid easy. There. Now it's turning nice and easy. Okay. Before, I guess it was because it was brand new and it wasn't wanting to slide on there. Okay, so you want to get that hole lined up. And then eventually we're going to adjust this. And there's little numbers on here. See, that one says 2. See right there? There's a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's even a 1. And they say that you want to get that down to the lowest number, because what's going to happen is water's going to go inside of this. See, water is going to fill that up and go in here. Then you also have water going in there to make this a little bit heavier, so it doesn't have to stay up as long to allow way more water than you really need to flush your toilet. Does that make sense? Okay, so it actually has some directions here. And so you just follow the directions, and it tells you before you take out the old one, you want to turn the water off. So we're going to have to turn the water off. We're going to flush it, and we're going to mark it with a pencil where the water line is, to then be able to determine what our next step is and to see if we can't get below that line. And there's all kinds of directions here, okay? So I'm gonna start doing this step by step and see what happens. This one here, how much more did this one cost? This was only like $1 more than the regular one. Now you don't have to get Korky, but Korky seems like a good brand. There's also at least two different other brands, and just look and see what you want to get. Okay, this is the one I chose though. Okay, so I shut the water off. I'm just going to flush this normal. Okay, now it tells me to mark that with a pencil. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. It's got my construction pencil. Just going to mark it right there at the water line. Okay, like that. Now I can go ahead, so I got the water off, I can just go ahead and take this out, this flapper. Dude. I can do that because the water's shut off right now. Okay, I've got the new one installed. And I've read the directions on there, and I'm just going to turn the water back on. Let this fill back up. And it's pretty easy to install a flapper. Just read your directions. And I also have some plumbing videos on my main channel page. Scroll down, all about toilets, and look at that, and I show you step by step how to install that and how to adjust the flapper and all that. Okay, so you just keep looking at this, and it was already preset, and I just made sure it was set up. I had the hole open with this little white sleeve, and then this was preset at 6, and that's the highest. Then you want to flush it, and we're going to see where it lines up with that pencil mark, shall we? That's the next thing we got to do. And so it tells you at this point, now you got to shut the water off again. I believe that's what we have to do. Turn the water back off. A little bit more hassle than the regular ones. And I hope your gate valve is a nice, easy one to turn on and off. We're going to flush that. We're going to see where it lands. To that pencil mark down there. Remember, it says if it's within 1/2 inch. Now look, it's within 1/2 inch of that one way up or down. Okay, that's what it says to do. Now, we can turn the water back on. And, you know, in reality, it'd be nice to get that water up just a hair, because we know the other one had it adjusted in such a fashion to where it was lined up at least with the pencil mark, right? So right now, this toilet is actually flushing 1/2 inch more than the initial one. And if anything, we want to save some water. We want to keep making sure that it still flushes properly too, though. Last thing you want to do is to adjust it so that it's way up higher than that, and then you flush it and find out it's going to need more than one flush for the toilet. You know what I mean? Because then you're defeating the purpose, aren't you? And another way to adjust that is you want to make sure that this water is about 1 inch below there. And see, this one is about 5/8 or so. And I can adjust that too with this right here. On my channel, you can check that out. There's a way to adjust this. You just loosen, you loosen the screw or tighten it, and that raises this ball up or down. Okay, so I want to lower that ball down a little bit, because I'm about 5/8 there. And I'm going to check it again. That wasn't supposed to be part of this video. I was just doing this really quick. The lighting's not really great either. I don't have my lights set up or anything, but hey, I'm just an average Joe helping you with your projects. Okay, I got about 1 inch there now, so I just saved me a little bit more water. At that time I'm not turning the water on or off. It tells you to turn the water off, and I can do that, or I can reach down in there and dial that number to number 5. The initial setting was 6, and to lower the amount of water, you want to try to get those numbers down as low as you can. See, so I'm going to do it down to 5, then 4, and all that, and keep doing it and see if I can actually save a little bit more water with this every time I flush. You know? But I still have to have enough water for it to flush properly. See, that's plenty. But I'm just below that pencil mark down there. Hey, look, Mom, no hands. Self-closing toilet seat. And that's, I installed that a while ago. I like that. No more breaking toilet seats or leaving the lid up or any of that. Okay, I'm just going to keep going, trial and error with this, see if I can save some water.